Welcome to 20 Minutes Self-Development with me, your host, Tam Dillon. 20 Minutes Self-Development, the podcast that's all about focused, effective self-development, one tool at a time. In each episode, I'll be introducing you to a specific practice or technique, and I'll be diving into why it matters, how it works, and how you can integrate it seamlessly into your daily life. In just 20 minutes, we'll get to the heart of personal growth and insights that make meaningful change feel both accessible and achievable. Let's get into today's episode. Hey, and welcome back to 20 Minutes Self-Development. So today we're going to be working with my favorite tool, the tarot. And we're going to be using the tarot as a mirror, which in all honesty is one of the best uses for the cards. And what I'm going to be helping you do is I'm going to be helping you explore, understand, and begin to shift the voice of your imposter. So this episode is especially helpful if you're someone who happens to hold space for others. Perhaps you're a healer or a practitioner, maybe you're a professional, maybe you're just someone in the service industry in general. But in all honesty, imposter syndrome can really affect anyone. So if you've ever had moments where you've questioned your place, maybe doubted your gifts or abilities, or just felt like you're not enough despite mountains of evidence to the contrary, this episode is for you. So you'll want to have some cards nearby if you're wanting to dabble around with the spreads that I'm going to be sharing with you. But if you're driving or walking, please don't put your cards out in the middle of traffic. Please, like safety first. You can always come back. You can listen now and then you can come back later when you're seated somewhere quiet, and then you can pull your cards out. So let's first start with why tarot is such an amazing tool for reflective work. Why do we talk about tarot being a mirror? A lot of people have this misconception that tarot is just a predictive tool. It's you go and you read, have your cards read by the crazy lady with her crystal ball, and she's going to tell you what's going to happen in a couple of weeks' time. Well, no, this is not what the tarot is. It's actually something that it's not going to tell you what's going to happen. It's going to rather reflect what is happening, what is happening right now. That is how tarot works. Those who can have the ability to do predictive work are few and far between. And not everybody that picks up a pack of tarot cards is going to be able to predict the future. But what they definitely can do is look at what is going on right now. And this is why tarot is such a great mirror-based tool. It just reflects back like, hey, this is what you got going on right now. It gives you a clear view of your mind, your emotions, your energetic patterns. And when you sit with the cards, you're not just looking for answers, you're looking for clarity, you're looking for understanding. And that's what makes tarot such a phenomenal tool for unpacking something like imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome it's rooted in in story. It's stories about who you are, what you can or can't do. Stories about how other people see you or how you think other people see you. And these stories don't usually come out from nowhere. They don't just, arrive one day with their bags and be like, cool, I'm your new story. I now live here. Like, they've come from somewhere. And they often have roots in your past, in perhaps how you were raised, in spaces where you probably felt unseen, undervalued, or afraid to take up space. Or perhaps times where you did take up space and you were perhaps laughed at or ridiculed or told that you're a failure. So what tarot does for you is it reflects those stories back to you. And it doesn't judge. That's the beautiful thing about the cards, is they're like, okay, cool, here's your stories. And that's it. It's not like, here's your stories, haha, you weirdo. The tarot is very non-judgmental. That's the great thing about them. It also doesn't lie. It holds up the mirror and it says, here's what's here. Are you ready to look? Fine. That's it. So let's look at an example. Let's say someone asks about why they're feeling like a fraud, even though they're doing good work, and they pull the Moon, the Five of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords. Now that's a combination that speaks to hidden fears, old wounds around belonging, or perhaps even exclusion, and mental patternings that keep looping. So instead of telling them you're an imposter, you're a fraud, the cards are rather helping them to see, where is that feeling coming from? Maybe they had to fight to be heard as a child. Maybe they were shut down every time they showed their creativity. Maybe they were shut down every time they spoke their truth or shared their voice. Maybe they were only praised when they were achieved. And now, as an adult, they hold space for others, but they still carry that fear that one day someone's going to say, you don't belong here. Like, this is not your place. This is not for you. What are you doing here? What makes you think you have the right to be here? And that's not a prediction. That's a mirror, and that's where the healing begins, because now you see the story that you're playing to yourself, where you think that someone one day is going to say to you, oh, you don't belong here. What are you doing here? What makes you think you belong here? And it's not reality. It's just a very out there potential, but it's not a definitive outcome. So it's what we would call an unfounded fear. It's fear based in nothing. There's no concrete evidence to say that, oh, in 2 weeks' time, Joe Soap down the road is going to come knock on your door and be like, hey, you really stink at what you do, and then go back home. The cards are not going to tell you that. In fact, I don't think anyone's going to be able to predict that for you. That would just be a really weird prediction. I would question that. I would get my money back if someone predicted that for me. So what the cards are showing you is, hey, here's the story that you're telling yourself. It's stuck there in a mental pattern, in that mental loop, and it's based in fear, unfounded fears. So let's explore. We're going to be looking at two little spreads. And these two little spreads are drawn from a much bigger reading offering that I have, and it's called Dismantling the Doubt. But these two little sections are really easy to grab your cards. Both are 3 cards each, super simple to look at. But the information that you're going to be looking at is really helpful, especially in unpacking that imposter. So let's work with the first spread. So if you're not driving and you're not walking, your seat's at somewhere comfortable and you're not going to be distracted, you're going to pull some cards with me. Okay, and we're looking to draw 3 cards. And this spread is designed to help you understand the imposter, not just how it shows up, but where it comes from, and how you might begin to loosen that imposter's grip. So we're going to be looking at 3 different questions, so 3 different cards. And the first one is, where does the imposter come from? Like, where is the origin of your imposter? What was its starting point? What is keeping the imposter in place? You know where the imposters come from. Now you're seeing, okay, this is what's keeping that imposter here. And then third, what is a way to move it? Like, how can I move forward from this? So I get where it started. I know what's keeping it in place. Now I know how I can actually shift it. That's some valuable information in 3 cards. That's why the tarot's so cool. Like, a lot of times you just need like 1 card or 2 cards or maybe even 3. So you don't need to pull 101 cards to figure out how to get rid of your imposter. Sometimes just 3 simple cards is a good place to start. So if you're drawing cards, you're gonna draw 1 for each position. And let's look at some possible interpretations. If you've pulled cards and you're looking at them and then you're like, what the heck, Tam? I have no idea what is going on here. You're welcome to reach out to me and let's chat about it. But let's look at some potential cards that might come up. So let's say you pull the Five of Cups for the origin of the imposter. This might speak to grief or perhaps a disappointment. Maybe a dream that you gave up on, or something that didn't go to plan, or perhaps if it's something that's leaving behind this lingering sense of failure, or this lingering sense of unachievement or incompletion. And let's say you pull the Devil card as what's keeping it in place. And it may reflect attachment to perfectionism, definitely rooted in some heavy fear, because it is a major arcana card, and it is the devil, and the devil's the big scary card. He's all about those big scary fears. And I would say that it's the fear of not being in control, that fear of not being enough, or not being seen as enough. It might even point to fear of what will happen if you step fully into your power. And I've struggled with this one. I've had conversations with my mentor about this for, a number of years. And it's very much a thing of, I know that I'm good at what I do, but what if I get there and, what if I become this crazy ego power trip person, because I'm so good at what I do? What if I can't keep my humbleness in check? What if I get there and I screw it up? So my imposter was very future focused, like what happens when I get down there? I'm like, I know I can get down there. I don't doubt the getting there. Like, I know I can get there, and that's cool. Like, that's easy. But I don't know what's going to happen when I get there. So for me, that was one of the big things when my imposter showed up. So let's say you draw the Six of Swords as the way to move forward. So we've got the Five of Cups as the origin of our imposter syndrome. We've got the Devil as what's keeping the imposter in place. And we've got the Six of Swords as a way to move through this. So what you're being shown with the Six is that the shift is a gradual process. And that is the thing with imposter syndrome. And I think for a lot of people, because it causes so much fear and anxiety and like unnecessary stress. I mean, you've got this critic living in your head being like, dude, you suck on a daily basis. Like, of course you want to get rid of him as fast as you can. You want to pack his bags and be like, get out. But it really is, it's a gradual process. It's a dismantling process. You're pulling it apart because you're pulling apart at the roots. You're understanding where is this thing coming from. It's like when you're pulling weeds out your garden, you don't pull out the tops and leave the roots behind. So it's a gradual process, step by step. Remember, I always say, change happens one small step at a time. So I'm going to repeat my little slogan to you right now, because it's true. It's about moving through the fog, not expecting instant clarity. It's like the hermit would be a really great analogy to use here. He's there in the darkness, and all he has is just the light from his lantern. But that's because he knows he doesn't need to look 6 miles down the road. He needs to look like here, like, a couple of feet in front of him, and that's all he needs his light to show. So he doesn't need to see even a mile down the road. He's not worried about like what's happening down there. He's just sure and steady on his path. So kind of walk the path as the hermit, if you will. So this kind of spread won't always give you easy answers. Like I say, sometimes you might pull cards and you're like, what the heck is that? I mean, I've seen people pull really positive cards for like the origin of their imposter. And it's like, how does imposter stem from, happy card? It happens. So, and that's where it's like, don't take the cards at face value. Look at what the cards are telling you in context to what it is that you're looking at. So the answers might not be super clear at first, but sit with it, have patience. It's just 3 cards that you got to look at, that's all. But it can help you start to see the inner mechanisms that work. Maybe you even just get what's keeping the imposter in place. Maybe that is your starting point. So don't get too hung up on like, oh, what do the cards mean? And how do I make sense of all of this? Look for what is making sense to you right now and start to pick it apart from there, because perhaps the imposter is something that's so far off from understanding that even working with the tarot, it's like, wow, still feels pretty far out of my frame of context. So what's really helpful, and Rando, I mentioned journaling hang of a lot, but that's because journaling is amazing. Journal, do it, because journaling is fabulous, especially when working with the cards, because you can write your thoughts down, you can write the cards down, and you can come back in a couple of days, a couple of months, you can come back in a couple of years if you need to, and look back, because sometimes insights from readings that you do for yourself may come days or weeks. And yes, believe me, because I've had it for myself personally, years later. In fact, I've seen it for some of my clients where cards have come up and it's like 2 or 3 years down the line. And it's like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. So don't look for instant solutions. Like, this is not what tarot is here to do. It's not here to give you instant solutions. It's not here to give you quick fixes. It's not here to be like, hey, cool, this is how you're going to miraculously take your imposter and kick him out the door. It's here to show you like, hey, here is your starting point. Here is where you should be looking to start with. And then we can keep walking. Like, this is a journey that you're now walking. This is not a overnight, like, cool, we're done. It'd be amazing if it was, but also you would be cheating yourself of so much necessary work and beautiful work. Let's have a look at our other spread. So this spread, we've had a look at the imposter, and this spread is now looking at your strengths, because it's all very well to understand the imposter and be like, who are you and what are you all about and where do you live and how do you exist? But also sometimes we need to look at the positive aspects that we already carry. Like, we know we've already got the imposter and we know that the imposter stinks, but now we want to know about the good stuff that we got. So let's have a look at 3 beautiful simple cards that we can put down that's going to tell you about your strengths. So this spread is going to tell you strengths, gifts, potential. So first card, again, simple 3-card spread. Your first one is your innate gift. Like, what is your natural gift? Like, what is that? The next one is, what is your untapped potential? What potential do you have that you're just not seeing? Or maybe you see it and you just pretend like it's not there, because we do that to ourselves sometimes. So what is your innate gift? What is your untapped potential? And then the third one is, what is the key to unlocking that potential? And you'll find that potential and your gift will likely have a tie into one another, and they'll probably leverage one another. And that the key is going to give it, some hyperdrive momentum and get you out the door. So if you're pulling cards, this spread really invites you to claim what's already within you. With the understanding the imposter, we're not looking to claim the imposter. This one, you're looking to claim stuff. All right, know the difference. So you're really looking to own what's already there. So when the cards are like, okay, cool, here's your gift, to be like, oh, okay, cool, that's mine. Own it. Don't be like, are you sure? Don't let the imposter read the cards for you. You read the cards for yourself. So let's have a look at an example, possible spread that might come up. And let's say the star lands as your innate gift. This might point to your ability to bring hope to others. Maybe you're just naturally very healing to be around. Perhaps you just have a really calming presence. Maybe people say to you, like, wow, you're really calming to be around. Like, you're very soothing. You have a very gentle energy. So that's how we're translating the star as what an innate gift would look like, coming in the context of the star card. And let's say the king of the page of wands is popping up as untapped potential. This might say you haven't let your creativity or your playfulness fully shine in your work yet, because it's a page. Pages and aces are fairly similar in it being something that's new and fresh. The page adds a little bit of like a young energy to it. So it's saying like, hey, you've got, because it's ones, it's fire, it's creativity, it's energetic. You've got all this amazing fire and creativity sitting there. It's something that you can really lean into and draw from, because it's so youthful and new. Because it's a page, there'll likely be a good amount of it. And then say we've got the magician as the key to unlocking this untapped potential. So you already have everything that you need, because that is what the magician is all about. He's got his tools on his table. He's got the 4 suits. He's tuned into the different aspects of himself. He knows how to wield all the tools of his trade. And you just need to know how to use it. So you've got the tools. You just need to know how to use the tools. So you're emulating that kind of archetype of the magician, of mastering the tools and mastering those aspects of the self. So you've already got everything that you need. You've already got the creativity. You've got the energy, the momentum. You have everything is there. It's pretty much just stepping into it. And don't let the fact that it's perhaps you're new to it and that's why the page is popping up. Don't let that whole like, oh, I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing. You're rather approach it from like, it's new and it's exciting. So approach it from that perspective. So this is already great spread for whenever you're feeling that disconnect from your own power, you're just not seeing your capabilities. You're just like, man, I really stink, and your imposter is really loud. It can be a really nice affirming spread to do for yourself. And it's also that reminder that the imposter isn't the whole story. In fact, the imposter, most of the time, he's just telling you fibs. He is just telling you stories. You're innately powerful. We all are. We all carry such an innate, beautiful power within us. And that we all have so much potential. We are all so capable, and that we really are. We have everything that we need. So let's take magician as a little affirming card for all of us, and like, okay, cool, you already got what you need. So if you've found this process helpful, if you've pulled your cards and you found that this is something that's really helpful for you, keep working with these spreads. Like I say, I'm going to be sharing them across my channels over the next couple of days. You can go ahead. I'll share a link to download my Imposter Syndrome Toolbox workbook. It has got both spreads included in there. It's a free workbook to get you working on dismantling the imposter. It includes tarot and a couple of other tools. So you've got that as a free download. And also know that you don't have to get it right. That's the thing with the imposters. We're going to sit there and say like, are you dismantling me correctly? Do you know what you're doing over there? You got to tend to be like, shh, you go sit in the corner there. I'm putting my cards. Like, you come back later and we can talk about it just now. So remember that this is a dialogue between you and your cards, and that it's your own deeper wisdom. It's an inner dialogue that you're having. So the imposter syndrome is not invited to this conversation. And if you do want some support in going further, I do offer the full Dismantling the Doubt reading. And this really takes this work so much deeper. I don't just look at just the 3 aspects of the imposter or the 3 aspects of your strength. I do a full deep dive. But honestly, what we've done here today is real work. You've already started, and that's why I love tarot so much, because it's when we simplify a tool like tarot, it becomes so simple to work with. Because like I said earlier, sometimes all you need is just a single card or just 3 cards. You don't need a whole 10 or 20 card spread. You don't even need to put your 5 cards down. So when you really simplify the tools, oh man, they really are amazing. So remember, keep listening, keep reflecting, and keep showing up even when the voice of doubt is loud, because the more you name it, the less power it holds over you. And the more you reconnect with your truth, the more you can share your work from a place of clarity and confidence. Thanks for being here. If you found this episode helpful, remember to subscribe and share it with someone who might need it. And tune in next week for more grounded tools for self-development. And remember, change happens one small intentional step at a time. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode of 20-Minute Self-Development. If today's insights were helpful, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, where I'll share another practical tool or technique for your personal growth journey. If you're looking for more personalized support, my self-development coaching offers a space to explore these tools at a deeper level and tailors them to your unique needs. You can also visit the Tam Dillon Academy for all my courses and upcoming programs to also help you along your self-development journey. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, and remember, growth happens one small intentional step at a time.